Hello, everybody. This is Anna Sabramowitz. Hope you're having a fabulous Friday morning. Let's get this party started. All right, was it an awesome week for you? All right, so this week, what I've been doing is walking through interactive stories, how to build one, how to craft one for yourself, how to implement this strategy in your own work. And today I'm going to introduce you to another awesome mechanic that we use in our interactive stories called the contagonist distractor. And you might be wondering, what the heck is that? Well, I'm going to show you what it is, how to use it strategically to get the people that you're helping move from a place of unaware and cold to hot and enabled and wanting to learn more, right? Because that's what all that interactive stories do, is basically take a learner who is completely unaware that they need the training, the mentorship, the resources that you're trying to share with them, and you're actually awakening them to the idea that, hey, maybe they need this, that there's a future, that the future that you're painting for them is better, and if they take up this learning journey, they're actually going to be better off, right? So that's what the interactive story is for. And the contagonist distractor is a strategy you use to make that an even more exciting and persuasive and, in fact, probably a little more challenging experience for them, okay? Because as adults, we love good problems. All right, so first let me just bring up the, make sure everybody is, I'm sharing this to everybody that needs to have shared this with. So they're all here. This is great. Now, if you're here and you're enjoying these series, please make sure you like this video, because I'm going to be shooting a whole bunch more, obviously, on all the different kinds of mechanics that are that we use in interactive stories, because there are quite a bunch. And the thing is, you don't use all of these, right? You don't use all of them. What happens is, depending on the kind of interactive story that you're crafting and depending on the kind of outcome you want, like you would use a different mechanic, right? So if you're here and you want to say hi, go for it. Also, if you have questions about what I'm talking about, usually I can catch them and actually answer them in live time with a bit of a delay, of course, because this is all, streamed. But I love having you here. So first, let's just quickly get back into let me set the context again for the interactive story very briefly. If you want more context about what interactive stories are, and also the other mechanics that we talked about the other day, which is the Pearl and the Karma meter, go back to my other lives this week and you'll see those there, okay? But first, let's just talk about the interactive story so you understand how this fits into the big picture, right? So an interactive story, at its simplest, and oh, hold on a second, you guys. I gotta make sure that there's some stuff that I need to fix here, because somebody's telling me that my stuff's showing up backwards. Here we go. Sweet. All right. I think we're good. Yes? Yes. Hopefully that works. There. Hey, yeah. All right, sweet. Okay. Haha. Interactive story. At its simplest, the interactive story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And remember, the purpose of the interactive story is not to actually teach people something here. Your goal here, and I mean, let's be realistic, right? The only way you can teach somebody something in 9 minutes is to fold a t-shirt, maybe, right? So the purpose of this experience, which can run from 5 minutes to 15 to 30, I've seen, mostly they're shorter, because the goal is to get somebody who's unaware that they're going to need this skill or to jump on this learning journey. You want to give them some ahas. You want to give them an epiphany. And the epiphany usually is, hey, wait a minute, I got some gaps and I didn't think I did. And I also have some beliefs that hold me back from, jumping into the sales program, because I think some people are born salespeople. But look at Jim. I saw Jim go through this journey and he achieved what he wanted. And he tried these different things. I wonder if I could do that. I wonder if there's a training program out there for me to get help on this sales stuff. Guess what? There is. Our LMS is loaded full of them. Sweet, right? Anyways, so you want more details on the mechanics of this interactive story as far as the big picture of it? Earlier this week I shared that and I went through it very systematically. But today we're talking about the mechanics in the middle, right? And there's different strategies you can use to augment this experience. So like I say, you can't have a good interactive story if your character sucks and you don't have a good story arc, right? If you're trying to get somebody from being okay to just being okay, it doesn't matter. Nobody's going to care about that character. But if their vision is big and they want to go from being just an everyday salesperson to actually being able to take their little girl to Disney World and not having to sell the car, well, that's pretty awesome, right? That's a good dream. So what you're doing with the mechanics is you got a solid pilot flame and you're just pouring on the gas and going, scaling it up, right? You're making it even more persuasive, because that's what we're doing. We're doing persuasion and also more emotionally gripping. So here's the contagonist distractor and how you'd use it. All right. So I also said that basically at the base of all of this, right, is our string of pearls. So the string of pearls is a sequence, right? Scenario, decisive moment, choice, and consequence, right? And then you string these together. That's why we call it a string of pearls. You string these together in your interactive story. That basically makes up the middle and the challenges that your character faces. You with me so far? Cool. And Surabi, I hope I'm saying that right. Thanks so much for being here. And hi, Peter. So in this middle, right, where we've got this string of pearls, the contagonist distractor is what actually gets in between somebody making a decision, somebody being faced with a decision that they need to make and actually making that choice. So let's see what that looks like, okay? So here's what we've got as a contagonist distractor. All right. So the contagonist distractor, right, is it augments the pearl. You don't use this every time. You use it very strategically, okay? And let me just tell you how you'd use this strategy. Is that you have your scenario set up, right, with your beats, your action beats. Then the person is, after you've set it up and you've set some context, you are presenting them with a decisive moment, which is, what would you do in this situation? Now, when you're using this awesome contagonist distractor, what you're doing is you're now introducing a character, we call them the contagonist, right? Who is there to vocalize some of those inner fears that our practitioner would have about making this decision. So what are some of those things, right? And it's kind of crazy because we assume that the reason people don't follow protocols or procedures or make the wrong decision is because they simply don't know the process. Now think about this. Now we all know we shouldn't eat a giant tub of ice cream, right? It's very easy. Or we know we shouldn't drink sugary drinks, but we still do, right? Why? Because there's a whole bunch of other beliefs tied around why we do that. There's a ton of reasons why salespeople don't pick up the phone, because they're afraid, right? There's feelings there. So what you want to do is, the thing is, a lot of people, even when they're in these situations, they know what the right thing to say is or to do, right? So if you just present them with the choice, they're like, yeah, I know the right answer. Of course I do. But what if you could make this a little bit more challenging by bringing up a person who means well and gives some advice about why you shouldn't make that choice? Like, let's say it's sales. It's Monday. People are so busy on Mondays, they're never going to answer that phone. You're going to bother them. They might say that. You should call them tomorrow. Or, you're gonna piss them off. So you shouldn't pick up that phone. It's actually rude. You should just email them instead, right? So the contagonist distractor is there to say sometimes the things that somebody would be thinking about before making this decision. This person is supposed to bring to light all the things that would get in the way, right? And that's why we call them the distractor, because they're supposed to be giving you good advice, but they're supposed to be really rationalizing why you should make the right choice, right? And I think this is such a cool strategy. But the problem with a lot of times when I see people use the contagonist distractor or think about it is they either think that the person has to be some sort of an evil creature that wants to get in your way. No. In fact, the contagonist is somebody who you might trust. In fact, most of the people who give you their well-intentioned advice, that's their well-intentioned advice. They don't think they're giving you bad advice. So in fact, it's actually good if that person isn't labeled a devil or an angel. They're simply another person in your office going, hey, remember what Jim said, right? He said that people get mad if I call them on Monday. Jim means well, but he's not giving me good advice. And in fact, that's one of the things that happens in the workplace, which is actually pretty cool, because if you can leverage that and be like, oh, here's Jim. Jim doesn't always have to give good advice or bad advice. Sometimes Jim can give, on some situations, Jim can give good advice, and on some situations, Jim can give bad advice, which is really cool. One of my students used this really effectively, and what she did is she had training that what happened is there was an emphasis from different branches of the workplace. So a new hire would be faced with, pressure from what they were taught in the training department as far as the focus on customer service. And then when they hit the floor, they would be hit with pressure of, look at that, look at all the customer calls coming in, you'd better be efficient, right? So every single time in the scenario, there was a call, these two opposing kind of people who were both right would give them reasons as to how to make this decision, right? Which is really cool because that's real life. And one of the things with a contagonist distractor is you really have to get that from the practitioners. You can't make that stuff up. I talked to somebody a couple of weeks ago, and they're crafting training for salespeople in the field. And I said, oh, cool. So do you ever talk to practitioners, right? Because you want to know what makes them hesitant to reach out to a client or knock on doors. And she's like, well, we try to talk to people who do this in the field, but after years of being reading the training manuals for these salespeople, I think I got it. I think I understand their job. And I'm like, all right, well, so you've been a salesperson? And she said no. And I'm like, okay, this training is gonna suck because you got no context. There's no way, if you've never knocked on doors in this role and figured out what gets in the way, that inner dialogue that messes you up and basically makes you not do what you're supposed to do, even though you know what you should do, you shouldn't be designing the training by yourself. That's what I'm saying. You need to talk to real humans because they're gonna hear this, your version of the contagonist distractor, and be like, what? Doesn't exist. Sorry, lady, you're saying the wrong thing. So you got to talk to people who are in the field. Are you fooling yourself? Or you're guessing? That's fine. Guess in the beginning, but don't guess at the end, right? You got to get some feedback from the humans that are actually going to be living in this context, because otherwise you're creating stuff that doesn't matter and nobody will get value from. So now, a lot of you guys are probably stuck in a position where that's the reality of your job. You're like, hey, Anna, at my workplace, we just put out stuff that we take PowerPoints and we convert them into PowerPoints that you can click, basically, online, right? Now, if that's something that you're stuck in and that's what your organization does, that's fine. Sometimes you can't actually influence that cycle. You're like part of a machine and the machine is on and running. But that doesn't mean that you can't use these sessions, use these resources to craft your own interactive story. Now, if you want to get there faster and you want guidance and feedback from people who actually are doing the same thing as you, then I'd love to talk to you, because we have a community of practitioners who are putting their own interactive stories together. And yes, there are people in there who are building their own interactive stories because they want it to be something that shows off the kind of work that they can do and more of the work that they want to do. But also there's people from organizations in there, and organizations that understand how powerful interactive storytelling is. And they've got oodles and oodles of stuff in their LMS that's not even being looked at, because what they're what they're missing is that connection for somebody from really, why should I step out of my comfort zone, right? And actually learn something new. I mean, yeah, it's there, but whatever, right? I'm good, right? You're trying to hit an interactive story is there to really hit all those people that are good. They're just good. They don't need anything. They're fine. Don't bother them. That's okay. It's fine, right? Don't bother me. I'm doing good. I want to get this person fired up. I want to get them excited about the fact there's an LMS we've been spending lots of time putting together all these awesome, resources for, and they never look at it because they don't think it's going to help them. What if I can help them see that, that it can? That's awesome, right? That's the kind of work that gets people excited. Like, I talk to so many people every day who are like, Anna, I would love to put something together that actually moves people to action, that actually has impact. And at the end of the day, if I know I've put something that gets this guy to feel like he could do something different with himself and that there's tools to help him, heck yeah, that would make me want to get up in the morning and kick butt, right? So if you're looking for that, or if you're looking to see how you can craft something like this and you want some help, I'll put my calendar link underneath this video. You can get in touch with me. We'll have a session. And during the session, really, I'll just talk to you about where you are at right now and what it will take to get you from where you're at right now to where you want to go. And if that is something that I can help you with, I'll let you know that. If I can't help you, I'll let you know that too, because the community that we have is a community of makers. So every week we're launching projects, right? And one of the things that I want to be careful about is not to bring people in who are just there to be like, hey, let's discuss some theories. I want people in there who are like, I'm passionate about storytelling and making impact. Let's build some stuff, or let me give you feedback on some awesomeness, because that's how you get good as well, right? So, sorry, I went a little bit early today. That's because obviously we run 2 coaching calls every week with the community, and today is one of those days. So I'm going to be jumping on a coaching call soon, but hopefully you guys found this useful. If you have questions, please let me know and post them in the comments. Also, if you want to book a strategy session, go for it, and do take the time to fill out that form so that I can get some context about where you're at and prepare for the call better. All right. So have a wonderful Friday, and I will probably see you next week. Take care, friends. Bye.